Hello, Tyler Montoya with EDAD 854, Chapter 4, Assignment 4, talking about motivation. In this assignment, we're supposed to prepare a video presentation showing how I'd present this information to a staff, so I would like to start there. Recently, I've been doing some reading and some research on motivational theories and practices, and basically kind of what motivates people to do different things in their lives. And I wanted to share three of my favorite um, motivational theories that I saw in my reading. First one being Maslow's need hierarchy. Um, Maslow's need hierarchy basically divides humans into or human needs into five different levels. First level would be physiological. Those are basically all the needs that any human being needs to live. That would be like your food, your water, shelter, anything that a human being needs to survive, or your survival needs. Um, and with this, you gotta once each need level is achieved. So once you achieve your um, physiological needs, you can then move on to the next level. The next level would be safety needs. That includes like safety from danger, safety from threats, safety from deprivation, anxiety. So once those needs are met, and you feel safe as a human being, so both your physiological needs and your safety needs are met, you can now move on to the third level, which are social needs. And I think from this point on, it's more the needs of kind of what makes you human. Um, so level three was the social needs, and those are the needs for like affection, affiliation with other people, friendship, love. Those are your social needs, and then those are kind of what make people human. Level four, then you can move on to is the esteem level, and that's where you get your own self-esteem, your self-respect, recognition from others, recognition for things you're doing, respect from others. Um, so that's your esteem needs. And then last level, once all the other needs have been met, you can move on to what makes you an individual, kind of. And that's the self actualization level. And in self actualization, basically the goal there is the attainment of one's full self or one's full potential. So, an example would be like athletes need to participate in athletics, they need to do physical activity, teachers need to teach, doctors need to practice medicine, musicians need to create music. It's basically the attainment of what you feel as a human being is your full potential in life. Um, so those are kind of the Maslow's need hierarchy levels. So you start from the bottom again, physiological, moving on, progress level by level to safety, social, esteem, and then self-actualization needs. So some strengths of this one. It's very structured. There's a clear hierarchy there. It's easy to understand. There's specific levels of needs, and it moves level by level in very clear fashion. And it's a great starting point as far as talking about what motivation is and what motivates people. However, the issue with this is there are some weaknesses. It's very basic. It only provides for one need at a time. Who's to say that humans don't have more than one need at a time? Um, and according to this, you have to progress level by level. Who's to say that just because someone doesn't have breakfast or doesn't eat, in the morning, doesn't mean they can't still want affection from somebody else. So it's very rigid in the sense that you can't skip levels. You have to move level by level. And that basically turns people into simple needs machines. It takes away the possibility, like I said, of having more than one need at a time. You have to move level by level with only one need. And it doesn't account for daily changes. Some days people eat breakfast, some days they don't. Some days, certain needs are met, other days they're not. It doesn't account for those daily changes. And because of that, needs themselves are flexible. Like I said, you get different needs daily. And then sometimes they're met, sometimes they're not. So what you need at any particular time is a very fluid concept, and I don't feel that fits very well into a rigid structure like this. So those are kind of the pros and the cons of the need hierarchy from Maslow. The next one I wanted to talk about is very similar to Maslow, and I like it a little more. It's called the existence relatedness growth theory. And basically, instead of the 5 levels, it divides it into 3 more flexible levels. And it kind of talks about your existence needs. is the first level or the bottom level, however you want to look at it. Those are your physiological and material needs: food, water, clothing, shelter. Though that's very similar to Maslow's, first level physiological, and then also your safety needs. So it kind of takes those 5 levels, encompasses them into 3 levels. So combined safety and physiological needs into your existence needs. Then the second level would be relatedness needs. Those are kind of your interpersonal relationships with others. And again, that'd be similar to Maslow's social needs and partially your esteem needs. It's where, again, your affection, your affiliation, love, friendship, all those are going to be met under your relatedness needs. And then the last level would be growth needs. That would be, again, those upper level needs from Maslow's hierarchy. So it's basically the intrinsic desire to grow and develop and to reach one's potential. That would be similar to part of esteem, reaching kind of where you feel you're being recognized, and then obviously your self-actualization, once again reaching one's full potential to where you feel that you've reached what you should be doing, or who you should be as a person. Some strengths to this one. Like I said, I like this one a little better. It's similar to Maslow's theory, but it provides more flexibility, which is great. It accounts for a wide variety of individual differences and needs. Like I said, not everybody needs the exact same thing at the exact same time, so it allows some flexibility there. It provides 3 broad levels that encompasses Maslow's 5 levels, so because of that, it doesn't. It's not as rigid. You don't have to move level by level. So like I said, Maslow says that once a need is satisfied, it no longer motivates somebody. That's what he said in his 5-level need hierarchy. So once you've reached your individual needs, so once you reach your physiological needs of food, water, safety, love and affection, according to him, those are no longer motivators. In the ERG, it says that if for some reason your higher level stuff, your higher level needs are not being met, you're going to regress back to another level. So, for example, if your higher level needs aren't being met, if your growth needs aren't being met there, you're going to fall back to your relatedness needs. If you're not able to, say, as a teacher, you're not able to progress to where you think you need to be, if you're not able to take some professional development, if you're not able to continue your education, or you're not able to move forward for your personal goals, you're going to fall back to the next level, which would be your relatedness needs. Those are interpersonal relationships. So you're going to try and find satisfaction in those needs rather than in the upper needs, since those are being frustrated. And the other advantage here is, it's clear, it's easy to understand. It takes those 5 easy to understand levels and puts them into 3 and makes them more flexible. However, there are some weaknesses here. Number one, it's still relatively basic. It doesn't encompass everything. It's very simple. Not much research has actually been done on how effective this really is in describing someone's motivations. And it's difficult to pinpoint an exact need in this one, because whereas in Maslow's need hierarchy, it provided for one set of needs at a time. In this one, since you are able to have more than one need according to this theory, it's a little more difficult to pinpoint exactly which need we're working on, at the time. So those are some strengths and weaknesses on that one. And then the third one that I liked and I wanted to share with you all was the self-efficacy theory. And basically what that is it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, to put it in simpler terms. It's basically a person's belief that he or she is capable of performing a particular task successfully. There's the phrase, if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're probably right. It kind of falls under that. It's basically your own self-belief on whether you can achieve something. This is divided into 3 dimensions. It talks about magnitude. Magnitude is the level of task difficulty a person believes he or she can attain. So it's basically the level of difficulty of a task that you think you can reach. Then there's strength. That's conviction regarding the magnitude as strong or weak. So you have a magnitude, or basically you've decided I can only reach this far of this goal. Strength is the conviction regarding that. How strongly do you believe that? And is that a strong belief or a weak belief? And then there's generality. There's the degree to which the expectation is generalized across situations. So if you feel that you can or cannot do something, how effectively is that moved across, applied to different situations? So, and the basic idea of self-efficacy is people rarely attempt something they expect to fail. So they're not going to attempt something if they don't think that they're going to be successful at it. Self-efficacy is derived from several sources. A person's self-efficacy can be influenced by past experience. If you have been successful at a task, say, for example, let's look at basketball. You know that you are successful in the past at shooting three-pointers or making free throws. When you step up to the line in the game to shoot a free throw, you are going to be more confident that you are going to make free throws if you have done so in the past and if you've shot a high percentage. Whereas if you have not been successful at shooting free throws before, you step up to the line, you are going to be less successful because your self-efficacy has dropped because you are not confident in being able to shoot those. Also via vicarious experience, if you see other people being successful or unsuccessful in something, that's going to affect whether you believe you can do it or not. Then there's also verbal persuasion, which again I talked about, that self-fulfilling prophecy. Someone can talk you into doing something or believing that you can do something, or they can talk you out of believing that you can do something. Again, it's that self-fulfilling prophecy. If you looked at the late Muhammad Ali, he always would walk around saying, I'm the greatest. I'm the best there's ever been. Nobody can beat me. That was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. That was verbal persuasion. He was persuading other people that he is the greatest. They can't beat him. But he was also verbally persuading himself also, stating, I am the greatest. Nobody can beat me. And it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. He was very successful, obviously. And then the last one, there's emotional cues. It talks about how you begin to associate different emotional cues with success and failure. If you feel that you're going to fail at something, you begin to have certain cues. There's butterflies in the stomach, sweaty palms, nervousness, things like that. Whereas if you've been successful at things in the past, you begin to associate other feelings with that. Excitement, adrenaline, confidence, those sorts of things. Those emotional cues begin to be associated with self-efficacy and your ability to be successful at something. So looking at the strengths and weaknesses of self-efficacy, strengths, I like it because it relies on one's personal beliefs. It basically gives you some very powerful effects on learning, motivation, and performance. If you believe that you can do something, you are going to be able to do it. So if you believe that you can learn your multiplication tables as a student, you are going to be able to do that. If you believe that you can, again, shoot a free throw, you're going to be able to do that. That's going to teach you that I can learn this, I am motivated to learn this, and because I believe I can learn this, and I am motivated to do it, then I'm going to perform and I'm going to do so. High self-efficacy, that you begin to set high goals. And with those high goals, you begin to give a high effort to learn and exert a high interest in attaining those goals. And then because of that, you're going to have high persistence. Persistence being, even if you do see some adversity along the way to your goal here, you're still going to be able to persevere if you have a high efficacy, or self-efficacy, I should say. Whereas some of the weaknesses are built in the exact opposite there. Low personal belief is going to lead to low learning. You're not going to believe that you can learn your multiplication tables. Because of that, you're not going to be very motivated to study them. And then because of you didn't study them and because you didn't believe in them, you're not going to perform well. Same thing with free throws. If you feel that you can't make a free throw, you're going to say, okay, well, I can't learn how to do it. I'm not motivated to try. So what's the point? And then you're not going to. And then when you get fouled and you go out to shoot free throws in the middle of a basketball game, you're going to miss your free throws because you didn't believe you could do it. So those are kind of the strengths and weaknesses of self-efficacy there. So let's look at some possible practical applications of these in the professional world. So if you look at some practical applications for the needs hierarchy and ERG, they're very similar, so I'm going to use the same application there. So if you're physiological, we need to look at kind of where we're at as a staff in our school and kind of self-analyze a little bit. Self-analyze. We're going to have to assume that your physiological and safety or your existence needs, in ERG are being met. We're going to have to assume that we have provided a safe environment for you guys to come to, and that we are providing you with the finances from your job to secure your basic needs, your physiological needs, your food, your water, your clothing, your shelter. We have to assume that that's what you have. Now, let's look around the building and kind of look at our social and our esteem needs or our relatedness needs. We need to look and see if we're building relationships in our school building. Are we doing that? You walk down the hallways. I don't see you guys hiding off in your classrooms, doors locked, not talking to one another. I see our staff talking to one another, laughing, making jokes, communicating. We provide things like the, Friday after class, once a semester, where, we set up a staff get together, Friday after class. We have the staff golf outing at the end of the year. We have an end of year gathering. We set up different social structures where you can go out and you can meet other teachers if you haven't talked to them, or you can have that social interaction outside of school with those teachers. If you feel that you're not getting that or those needs, put yourself out there a little bit, or if you don't feel that you're meeting those and you're not comfortable putting yourself out there, come ask one of your administrators. Come ask me, what are some ways that we can do that? And I'll help you. I'll do my best, to help you get those interpersonal relationships at work. If you do that, you're going to be happier. You look at the needs hierarchy and the ERG. Once you're happier and you're able to do those things and you've reached your, interpersonal needs, you're going to be able to move on to those upper levels. You're going to be able to move on to being able to reach your esteem and self-actualization levels, So you just got to make sure that you're able to reach those. And then you need to analyze, are you reaching your esteem and self-actualization needs? So are you reaching those top-level needs? Are you reaching reaching your growth needs? Basically, with that, analyze. Become a lifelong learner. Take some grad classes. As a teacher, we always talk about we're never done learning. We tell that to students all the time. So go out there, take some graduate courses if you can afford them. If you can't, go out and take some professional development. Progress yourself in the direction that you want to go. Find some personal self-actualization needs. For example, I'm a distance runner. I, in my personal life, want to be the best distance runner I can. So I want to be able to run half marathons and marathons. So go out and achieve those things, work towards those things, and find some way to analyze whether or not you're actually reaching those goals. That's a practical application of the needs hierarchy and ERG there in itself. So that's something we need to do is self-analyze and then analyze whether our students are reaching those needs and goals. Then a practical application of self-efficacy is actually something I'm going to have you guys do this year. This year I'm going to challenge you. We hired all of you as staff because we felt that you were the best option for that position. We felt that you were the best person for your position. So we have a belief that you can do a lot of things. Okay. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to pick a new strategy to try in your classroom, something that you're uncomfortable with, something that you have not done before. Now, whether that means it's a new teaching strategy, a new assessment strategy, you're using a new piece of technology, you're trying a new project, there is a lesson that you haven't taught before that you're going to try, something that you are not 100% confident or comfortable with. However, you are confident that it's something that you might be able to do. And I'm going to help you out to set up those challenges and those goals. We're going to meet one-on-one, and I would like you to set up a goal or a challenge like that I think that we both think that you could meet, something that you can attain in your classroom, trying something new, new teaching strategy. So I'm going to help you out with those. And then hopefully you're going to be willing to try that and allow me to come in and see it. I'm not grading you on anything. You're not being evaluated. I just want to see whether or not we achieved what we thought we could. And I have full confidence you're going to be able to do that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy like we talked about. If we sit down and we come up with a strategy that you feel confident that you can implement, but you are uncomfortable with, something you haven't done before, I have full confidence that you are going to be able to do that. And if you have full confidence in yourself, it's going to happen. Again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's self-efficacy. So I want you to try something new and learn from it. And even if you fail, so what? You learned something new from it. Next time you try it, it's going to work better. So those are the 2 practical applications that I have for our various strategies that I talked about today. Last thing I want to leave you guys with, as a staff and as teachers, I want you guys to kind of think about some questions here. First one I want to ask, we've learned, about 3 different strategies today or 3 different theories for analyzing needs. And so far we focused primarily on people in general or staff, us as an organization. But I'd like you guys to kind of take a second and apply those strategies or those theories we learned or I talked about today to students. Ask yourselves, are students' needs being met at home? So are they coming to school? Do we feel that they're eating at home? Do we feel that they have food, water, shelter, safety? Are those needs being met? Okay. If they are, awesome. If they're not, that's where we as an organization need to be vigilant. If you suspect not, it's our job to see if that's what's happening. If we don't suspect, or if we suspect that it's not being met at home, we need to find out what we can legally do about that. So take some time over the next few days, think about that, discuss that with somebody. We talked about building interpersonal relationships earlier. I'm going to make you build an interpersonal relationship. Find somebody and talk to them about it. And then come to me and tell me what you think. I'd like to hear your opinions on things. Another question I want you to go over with your other person, whoever that person is. I want you to look at, are the students' needs then being met at school? If we know that they are or are not being met at home, let's see if they're being met at school. What are our motivators here at school? Are students feeling safe? What are students motivated by here? Are they getting their interpersonal relationship needs that they need? If they are, great. If they're not, do we need to have a different motivator? Are students motivated to do their work in class? Are grades enough? Are grades enough of a motivator for them? Do we need a game day or a food day every once in a while? That's why I think it's important for you as a staff to try something new in the classroom to meet those students' needs. So again, take time with that over the next couple of days. Discuss that with your partner, and then come to me. I want to hear your opinions on these things. And then the last question I'm going to leave you with, I would like to ask you guys, teachers, what motivates you? Think about that. What motivates you in the middle of the 3rd quarter when there's no end in sight, where you're dragging? What motivates you to come to school to work every day? Think about that and discuss that with your partner. And then now think about what motivates students to come to school every day during that time. So, and then coaches, if teachers, you can't think of something, coaches, what motivates you? What motivates you in the middle of a season or in the long stretch of a season? I'm a basketball coach. In the middle of winter, what motivates me to continue working with my athletes when I'm in that long stretch, in the middle of January? We've been going since November, and there's, the end is not in sight. What motivates me to keep going? And then look at it. What motivates your athletes? What motivates you to get up and do something every day? What motivates your athletes? Again, take time with your partner, discuss those things with one another, and then come back to me. I would love to hear your responses. So thank you for allowing me to share my motivation readings that I've done and the research that I've done, and have a good rest of your day.